to breaking news. Today we're talking about the acidification of the Great Barrier Reef and how it affects the lizard island. We all know how the world is getting badly treated, especially by us humans, and how we pollute it. Did you know that we spread about 36 billion kilos of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere every year? We're wasting the natural resources and we destroy the animals' habitats. Things like this affects the climate and pretty much everything in a bad way. We really need to stop this before it's too late. I've been talking to some scientists about this, and here's what they said.
Hello and welcome. Thank you.
So, first, can you explain what a coral is?
Well, a coral is basically an animal actually, and that is why it's so fragile. It consists of two species living together in symbiosis, and the main structure is built by polyps, thousands of polyps. This is a tiny animal related to animals, and they spend their whole life stuck in one position and feed on bypassing planktons. They protect themselves with dense shells made by calcium carbonate, and that shell is what gives the coral this rock-like structure. Inside these polyps lives a much smaller species called zooxanthellae, and zooxanthellae, they are related to plants, so they can produce their own energy through photosynthesis and gives all the extra nutrition to their host.
And what happens to the coral when it bleaches?
Well, this bond between the zooxanthellae and the coral is vital for the coral's survival. In warm waters, like in the tropics near Australia, the zooxanthellae stands for up to 80% of the coral's energy intake. And if the coral gets stressed, for example by sore waters, the zooxanthellae leaves for a better home, a better coral. And suddenly the coral can't get that enough food and it starves to death and bleaks.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Our next guest is Kalle, who is going to talk about coral bleaching.
Welcome, Kalle.
Thank you.
So, what is causing the coral bleaching and how does it connect with the acidification of the seas?
Well, in the long term, the acidification is most likely to be the cause of the climate changes to the reef's ecosystem. And our increased release of carbon dioxide has affected the oceans all around the world. And it's estimated that about half of the have absorbed more than half of the carbon dioxide that have been released by humans from the atmosphere.
So, how does the carbon dioxide turn into acid?
Well, the ocean and seas absorb the carbon dioxide and bonds it with the water and forms carbonic acid. When carbonic acid comes in contact with calcium carbonate, it turns them both into ions. That way the sourness disappears, but so does the calcium carbonate. Suddenly the corals and other shell-building animals can't find enough calcium carbonate in the water to build up their shells. For corals, that stress can lead to bleaching and limits their ability to form reefs. Global warming is also affects the reef, and because of the increased water temperatures, the corals are not able to keep up with the fast changes, resulting in the corals bleaching and an increased probability of diseases.
And our last guest for today is Lilo, who is going to talk about what we can do to change. This doesn't sound like good news, but what can we do to save the reefs?
We can do things like we can try to make Australia reduce their coal export because it's contribute and to acidification. We must stop using chemical manure and agriculture and start using real manure instead. We can begin to travel more collective and not travel with cars so much. But we can also choose to go more eco-friendly car. We can reduce your energy used at home, such as light or disagree the heating degree to the house. We can stop throwing a lot of garbage in the oceans when it won't float around and go down to the reef, where it destroys both for animals and plants. It's much more people do the same, then it will be a big difference.
Thank you so much for being here today, and I hope our viewers learned something.